Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another horror movie review upon request. This is another request by DeathMetalelitist. He's made a couple requests already. But before I get to that, I just want to say, I know it's October. I know I've been trying to make this a horror channel, and I should be doing a lot of Halloween stuff, more so than normal. But with the way my work schedule is, and when I have time to do videos, and lately I've been playing catch up with comic books, and also reviewing those. I want to do more comic reviews. And it's already the 12th of October, so I guess the 31 days of Halloween didn't come to pass. I'll try harder next year, because Halloween is my favorite holiday. I love everything about it. This is my first October with this channel. I just kind of got behind, I guess. But I'm gonna start now with this request, and then I'm gonna do the Halloween series. I've already done the first film, and I also want to do, since this is my first Halloween, classic monster movies, Universal or otherwise. So I'm going to try my best to do, all the Halloweens, some classic horror monster flicks, maybe some haunted house movies, and still maintain comic reviews. Learning as I go. But anyway, so yeah, this was a request by DeathMetalelitist, and that is House of a Thousand Corpses. He wanted me to do this. Which, I don't necessarily love the film or enjoy it a tremendous amount, but I could probably say this is my favorite so far Rob Zombie movie. I used to love his remake of Halloween, but the more I watch Carpenter's original, the more I appreciate that and see how Rob Zombie's really misses the point. I hate H2. Lords of Salem was alright. It was a more mature. I never got around to seeing 31 or 3 from Hell. It didn't play around me. Even the sequel, Devil's Rejects, I would say is, in my opinion, kind of overrated. But House of a Thousand Corpses, it's definitely cheesy, but I can see why they went with cheese, because Rob Zombie is a huge fan of all classic horror, whether it be like the black and white Universal stuff, all the science fiction of the 50s, all the way up through the 70s. And I think this is, it takes place in 1977, came out in 2003, or 2, either or, it doesn't matter. So it takes place in 77. I think it's supposed to be, what I get from it, a really cheap B-movie drive-in grindhouse film. That's what I think is what he's going for. Which is why a lot of the colors, the subject matter, the acting especially, and also how it feels like two completely different fucking movies, the first half and the second half. I almost lost my train of thought on that. Yeah, that's what it feels like. His version, his homage to B drive-in cult classics of the 70s. This was his first film. I think he actually made it in 99 or 2000, and it sat on the shelf for quite a while because no one wanted to buy it. No one would touch this fucking movie. And then I don't know what it was. Somehow someone saw it and was able to finance it or whatever. It's got a great cast, a good horror cast. You have Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding, which I meant to make a video but I never did. I think it's 2 weeks ago. This weekend being 2 weeks, I think, since Sid Haig had passed away. I know he was in an accident. He was also in his 70s. And I didn't really look into it, so I don't want to say that's what it was, but it probably was. And Sid Haig, for me, is the most enjoyable thing about this or Devil's Rejects. His Captain Spaulding character. You know, Haig himself has called Spaulding a lovable asshole, because that's what he is. But you also got, of course, Bill Moseley, Karen Black, Tom Towles. I wouldn't really call Walton Goggins a horror icon, but he's a good character actor. Of course, Sherri Moon. This is back when she was Sherri Moon. This is before her and Zombie got married. She became Sherri Moon Zombie. But it's also got people like, Rainn Wilson, pre-Office. I can't... The guy that plays Tiny, his last name is McGrory, I think. Tiny. Matthew McGrory. Which I remember as a kid, I saw him on an episode of Maury Povich show about people with deformities. Because he has, I think, a form of, like, gigantism or something. So, I mean, he's been in a lot of movies playing the giant. Like in Big Fish, he was in this, Devil's Rejects. I think he was even in that stupid Bubble Boy with Jake Gyllenhaal. But this movie's kind of all over the place. I mean, essentially what it feels like is take Texas Chainsaw Massacre, take Rocky Horror Picture Show, mash those together, and put Rob Zombie's vision over it. That's what this feels like. You know, you have two couples just driving through the country, trying to find these attractions. They come across Captain Spaulding's, museum of monsters and madmen. Of course, he's a clown. I don't know if that was... Knowing what kind of place Spaulding's is, I mean, there's a murder ride where you're in this tram car and there's like wax figures of real life serial killers. Of course, one's from 1977 and prior. Because Rob Zombie has a thing for real life serial killers, as I do. So maybe some of that was Gacy inspired. And, of course, Rainn Wilson is the boyfriend of one of the girls. The other guy's all into everything. And there's this legend of Dr. Satan. Like this guy that did experiments on people. And there's like a tree where he was hanged. And now the other guy wants to go find it. So they're trying to find the tree. They have entire problems. But first they pick up Sherri Moon, who plays Baby. And Baby is, I would probably say, one of the most annoying, like, villains of a horror film. I was going to say characters, but, Tina from Halloween 5 is pretty fucking terrible. Baby's hitchhiking. They pick her up. She's like, my brother has a tow truck. Let's just go to my place. So they go to this, like, dilapidated country house. And it's like Rocky Horror Picture Show. They have weird like, they have to eat dinner and dessert with Halloween masks. They do, like, a show with, like, singing and dancing. Like, the guy that plays Grandpa, his comedy routine, every time he delivers a punchline, he does this, like, oh! And there's weird, like, Dario Argento type, like, colorings, like blues and reds and greens. It also shifts to a lot of, like, what looks like 8mm grainy, like, home video stuff of, like, Otis, played by Bill Moseley. They're all named after Groucho Marx, or Marx Brothers characters. Because we hear over the radio that some cheerleaders went missing, and he has them in his bedroom. And I think Otis, played by Moseley, was heavily inspired by Charles Manson, because he has a lot of these, like, philosophies, kind of speaks in riddles. But he's also albino, like he was when he played Chop Top in Chainsaw 2. And it's pretty much just going down this, like, descend into madness. Like, you know, they get to this weird house with these weird people who do weird things, have weird traditions. And then, you know, just when they think they can leave with the car, that's when shit really gets fucked up. And that's where it shifts. Because, you know, Otis turns Dwight, I'm just going to call him Dwight, Rainn Wilson, Dwight from The Office. He turns Dwight into like this half man, half fish, like preserved person. He's dead. Then they take the other three characters, they put them in this box, casket, lower them down in like this hole in the mud with this tape that's like this weird like like these weird creatures come out. One of the girls gets it. There's weird creatures everywhere. And that's where Dr. Satan is, which is like this guy with the breathing thing, and he's got like, kind of looks like Doc Ock from Spider-Man, almost. So yeah, it gets really weird. And surprisingly, it doesn't really have that much Rob Zombie music, save for the opening credits, which is the House of a Thousand Corpses song, which is my favorite song by Zombie. And, you know, one thing I like about horror movies is sometimes they'll put really happy sounding old music over something disturbing just to make it more disturbing. I love it when movies do that. I mean, just go watch the Hills Have Eyes remake. So like the sheriff, Tom Towles, Walton Goggins, and the father of one of the girls goes to the house, and then that's when Slim Whitman, his I'll Remember You song is played over slow motion of them all getting killed. But then like when he's torturing Dwight in Baby's Dancing, they play She's a Brick House, which doesn't really fit. A lot of like this homemade snuffy looking cuts and edits I think fit and go well. Not all of them. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of the second half, like with the Dr. Satan stuff and like the thing underground with all, like there's this one big red guy who has like a respirator, but like when he takes it off, like his cheeks, there's almost like a crater that the respirator sits in. I mean, they're like Silent Hill monsters. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about it. It's cheesy, but in like an entertaining way. A lot of the acting's pretty bad, which again, thinking it's an homage to like the Grindhouse 70s B movies, maybe the acting is intentional. Because like in the beginning, when the two guys are holding up Spaulding, first of all, I was gonna say who would rob a place like that, but it is also a gas station. With the worst disguises ever. I mean, this big guy has this little tiny chimp mask that just covers like this much of his face. And then the other guy has like a ski mask where literally there's just, it comes down like here. Like 75% of his face is all exposed. And he just has dumb lines like, I might leave your brains in your skull. So yeah, it's pretty cheesy. And yeah, Baby is to me, one of the most annoying villains, monsters, whatever, in horror films. Not monster, but I mean, I really like, I mean, Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding really makes it fun. Some scenes with the music almost feels a bit like Carpenter-esque. Like when they're taking the casket, and when they put the people in the casket, they're in like rabbit suits. There's like this weird like drum beat, like an industrial metal drum beat, which sounds like a John Carpenter score, but like amped up. But I mean, I remember when this came out, people talked about it a lot. A lot of kids I went to school with, which I was in like 5th grade, I think, when this came out, talking about how scary it was and all this. There was some hype around it when it came out. and now hardly anybody talks about it. It's almost like zombies' forgotten film. In my opinion, it's my favorite one. But anyway, yeah, there's just not too much to say about it. That's the thing. But, so, a death metal elitist, this video was for you. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you all enjoyed my short, sort of nothing review of House of a Thousand Corpses. Thank you for watching.